You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello and welcome to episode 278 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Shawn as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, how are you out there in podcast land? I hope everybody is doing wonderfully well. This is the week of Valentine's Day 2023. I hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day. If you did, awesome. If you didn't, better luck next year, or maybe you don't even care. Guess it doesn't really matter. How did I spend my Valentine's Day? Well, Melissa left Valentine's Day morning with her mom and her sister, and they flew to Mexico because they've had this trip planned for about a year. And so they went to Mexico on Valentine's Day. So we actually spent Saturday night doing some romantic things, got some dinner and watched some TV and other things that you don't need to know about. But it was a good time, real good connection. And then she left on Valentine's Day, and I asked her sister's boyfriend if he wanted to spend Valentine's dinner with me because it would be funny, and he said no. So what did I do? I spent it at home alone with the dog and the cat because it was utility bill delivery day on Valentine's Day. And I was exhausted because it was super slippery and I had to go to every single house to deliver utility bills. So I was exhausted anyway, so I just kind of vegged out. I watched some episodes of Babylon 5 so that I could do this week's Epsilon 3 podcast with Paul and Dan.
Hello, I'm Daniel Peter Hitch, author of the Bubbles the Pirate children's book series and the Connected Worlds Chronicles. You're listening to the Soul Forge podcast. Keep forging your soul.
Oh yeah, I watched episode 5 of The Last of Us. Then I pretty much went to bed because that was enough for me. I was done in. Oh, I had some chocolate because you got to have chocolate, right? Because who doesn't love chocolate? I know I do. Other than that, though, that was my Valentine's, and that's okay. Would love to hear how you guys and girls out there in podcast land spent your Valentine's Day. soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. Send us a line. An email, an MP3. Let the listeners know what you've been up to for either Valentine's Day or how you've been starting off your 2023. Good news, bad news, life advice, anything really from any of you listeners out there would be great. Definitely love the feedback. Haven't had too much of it lately, so please share some feedback, some ideas, some thoughts, some topic suggestions, whatever you might have for the Soul Forge listeners. What else are we going to talk about? Well, let me think here. I don't actually have a topic for the week because I was thinking about it. Do I want to do a romantic Valentine's Day episode? Well, not really. This comes out on the 16th of February, which is the Season 3 premiere of Star Trek Picard, which I've been eagerly anticipating for about a year or so. So that's great. Looking forward to that. Actually, Antman and the Wasp Quantumania comes out that day as well. So Brother Robin and I are going to go see that at the movie theater. So Picard's back. The new Marvel movie's out. The Last of Us, it's based on a video game, some kind of zombie-type creatures connected through spores or mushrooms, or I'm not even sure what. Great series. I never played the video game. My brother Curtis did. He said it was a great game. Everybody says it's a great game, and apparently it's the best video game adaptation ever. Only 5 episodes. I'm really enjoying it. Episode 3 was spectacular. Can't really give too much away, but basically it's two people going through the country, I guess, on their way to somewhere for some reason. Something to do with the girl who has a cure for the zombie plague in her blood, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really know what's going on yet. Although I do know, actually the only thing I do know is that it's starring Pedro Pascal, and he's taking the magical child across the world, just like he did or does in The Mandalorian. Pedro Pascal taking the magical child across the land. And that's actually back, I think, in March. I'm not sure. But yeah, lots of good stuff coming out. I don't really know what else to tell you about what's going on. Let me think here. Well, actually, before I devolve into a weird train of thought, here, let's play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO network.
So, Brittany, Martha, tell me about your podcast.
Oh, no. It's like we're in sync, but also kind of a disaster.
We are always a disaster.
So our podcast is fun if you want to hear two people talk about and complain about stuff that they love and also hate.
And drink.
And drink.
And the show is called?
Oh. But first, let's talk nerdy.
And you can find us on the ESO network.
See you next Tuesday.
And wasn't that a great promo? Yeah, it sure was. Hope you go check that out and listen to all their episodes. After I'm done recording this episode for you, we're recording a couple episodes of Epsilon 3. And then, that's the big news that I meant to tell you. My dad and I have actually reconnected. You'll remember a few years ago I did the episode called My Dad is Mad at Me, and we didn't talk for a while, and actually he reached out not too long ago, and we've been spending some time together, and it's been actually quite pleasant, which is nice. I don't know how long this is going to last for. It's kind of almost like the relationship that I always wanted to have. He calls me almost every day or every second day. This coming Friday, we're just going to go out for dinner at, I think, a Chinese restaurant or something. I've been helping him out around his house doing some things. He's feeling old, and he's 69, so he's feeling old, and he can't do the things that he used to do, so helping a little bit, but not too much. Mostly it's just pleasant conversation and the occasional coffee, and it's what I had wanted pretty much since I was a kid. Is it too little too late? I don't know. I guess it doesn't have to be. I'm just going to run with it because it's nice. It's decent. And it was basically him reaching out because I was done, because I couldn't keep doing it. I couldn't keep reaching out and putting myself out there, and he did. So maybe the old age is catching up with him. Maybe he's just feeling like it's time. I don't know. Him and brother Curtis actually aren't talking again. And the big joke is always, oh, well, your dad can't maintain two relationships with his kids, so it's your turn. But who knows? And brother Robin, of course, had a different dad, so that's all fine and good. He did ask about Robin the other day, though, and I was telling him a little bit about it, and yeah, he's 37, and he's like, holy crap, when did that happen? I'm like, well, it happens. And you heard Robin on the Let the Nukes Fly episode last week, where he wasn't doing too well, but he's doing the best that he can, and I've been talking to him here and there. And like I said, we're going to go see Antman 3. Well, as I'm recording this, it's Wednesday, so tomorrow. And this episode comes out tomorrow, which is now today, as of you're listening to it, whenever today might be for you. But that's beside the point, time travel and all that kind of good stuff. Let me think what else I wanted to talk about here. Like I said, I was going to talk about love and romantic stuff, and then I decided against it. And I don't really have too much to say other than I can't wait for winter to be over. It's super slippery. This is my first winter delivering the mail here in the Sioux since I moved back from Timmins almost a year ago, and it's a different kind of weather. Not completely different, but it's almost like we have the spring thaw now, although I don't know if this is fool's spring or not, because it's been like +6, which in Fahrenheit is probably in the high 30s. I don't really know. But yeah, so it was raining today, and then of course it's going to freeze overnight, and we're going to get a couple centimeters of snow. But the weather is up and down like a yo-yo here. It's very strange. There was only about 2 or 3 really, really cold days that reminded me of living back in Timmins. It's still cold. It's still delivering the mail. It's still the weather. But it's whatever. You know, it's just first world problems, I guess.
If you are loving this podcast, you should tell a friend about it.
Spread the word about podcasts you think they would enjoy. There's something for everyone, from entertainment and lifestyle
To news and politics
and more. Share it on social media. Believe it or not, some people don't know how great podcasts are,
or even how to find and listen to them.
You can help change that with a click. Tell your friends about your favorite podcast.
Thanks for spreading the word.
And speaking of first world problems, no, I don't actually have a transition. This is not the best episode ever in the history of the Soul Forge podcast, but I'm doing my best. It's I think I'm out of sorts because Melissa's not here, and I'm tired, and it's just, I don't know. There's nothing exciting going on except for television and movies, and everybody's just waiting for the spring to come. And I got to go take Max the dog out for a walk shortly because, he likes his daily walks. And that's pretty much it. So I will apologize right now for this not being a very long or exciting episode with too many updates. But there's not a lot going on. And next week I'm going to go for a more exciting guest, which I know you'll love and can't wait for. But I can tell you that the Etsy shop, Rusted Robot Toys, is going really well. I've made a few sales this week. I've been selling a lot of Funko Pop vinyl figures. Last summer, I picked up a salt and pepper shaker, and I didn't think I was going to sell it or whatever, but I posted it the other day, even though it was damaged, and sold it like the next day. So I guess people like salt and pepper shakers. Yeah, so go check out Rusted Robot Toys on Etsy if you're looking for some cool pop culture stuff. You can also check out Rusted Robot Toys on YouTube if you'd like to watch or listen to the videos of the podcast right there. Other than that, I got nothing. Like I said, sorry, not sorry. At least it's some kind of content with some information. Go check out The Last of Us if you haven't. Quantum Leap has been enjoyable. Picard is coming out tomorrow, and that's exciting. Go take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links. And don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
We fight or we die.
Admiral on the bridge. And Captain on the bridge.
You will probably find this inspection boring for the likes of you two.
Boring?
Well, we won't be blowing things up. Taking or engaging in fire, crash landing expectedly or unexpectedly.
Those were the days.
There is something coming.
Battle stations.
Some kind of attack. And Starfleet could be the target.
There's a darkness. An all-consuming darkness.
And it is getting stronger.
Jean-Luc, trust no one.
Jean-Luc Picard. We will have vengeance.
You and I have traveled to the far reaches of space. But something's different now. This is the end, my friend.
once irrational, violent.
Is anybody you know still the person you knew?
This is life or death.
It's always life or death, John Luke. When has it not been?
With each ticking moment, I will take another piece of you.
Battle stations!
Survival. It's human nature, pal. We fight or we die.
Hold it! Gun it!
I need you. All of you.
We're with you. Always.
Engage. Will, are you enjoying this?
Of course not. Are you?
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping for the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.